Hey everybody, Jay Kane. Suppose the mic will help. Hey everybody, J.K. Calloway here at Real J.K. Calloway, and we're coming up on another pay-per-view because we've got one every 2 weeks at this point. Are you burnt out yet? TLC on the WWE Network, October 22nd. Make sure you go ahead and watch it on the network. Don't pirate things because it makes you a dick. But it's happening in my hometown, Minneapolis, at the Target Center, and guess what? I'm gonna be there! If you're a fan of professional wrestling, the theater of it, and the athleticism, all that fun stuff, it's always great to go live. So I'm very excited to see what happens. Hopefully it's not just a big, weapons-based shit show, because you can go to any indie fed to watch that kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and do some fantasy booking and predictions for this upcoming pay-per-view special. First up to kick off the kickoff show, because it's going to be the kickoff show on the kickoff show, and I don't know why, because they have to make every single event 5 hours at this point. It's going to be rough. But Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox, rehashing their feud they had earlier in the year, and hopefully this is a one-off thing, because I think we've kind of seen everything we can see from these two, but it's a kickoff show match, so usually the baby faces go over. I'm going to stick with that. Sasha Banks will win this match. Up next, and apparently it's on the main show itself, not the kickoff show, which is really surprising. Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander versus Brian Kendrick and Zach Gallagher. Don't get me wrong, it's outstanding that they're going to put two cruiserweight matches on a pay-per-view just to try to get them going, which is excellent. I like that. I think they're doing it in spite, though, because apparently Neville walked out recently and he's asked for his release, so now they're going to be like, oh, Neville, you want to leave? Well, now we're going to feature everyone in your division on a pay-per-view. They all get a pay-per-view check now. Good decision. That's how it feels to me, is they're kind of like, oh, you want to leave? Well, guess what? Now we're going to feature everybody. Not you, though. So, it's pessimistic, but at the same time, any wrestling fan is a pessimist. It's just kind of part of the deal. I don't see any big storylines progressing here. The babyfaces will win. Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander. Speaking of featuring a number of matches from a particular division, the second of 3 women's matches on this pay-per-view, which is awesome. Very well done to them. They should keep this going. But I think it'll be the debut of Asuka versus Emma up next. And, there's no secret who's going to win this match. Asuka's going to win the match. It just depends on how and what they do with it. And I'm still sticking with my prediction from before. I think it was No Mercy. I'm not sure. But, definitely Asuka's going to win the match. But I do think she's going to get a beat down after the match. Not only from Emma, but from a returning Paige. Emma keeps on bringing up this idea that she started the women's revolution in NXT, which is true, but she started it with Paige. Those two were having killer matches for months before Charlotte and Becky and Bayley and Sasha Banks got going, really. Those two were the leaders, and then they went up, and then it got even bigger with those other 4. So, put Paige and Emma together as 2 heels that say they're going to take over the division. That's excellent, because it's kind of true, and then maybe you'll get people going back and ordering the network and looking back at the matches they had together, which were killer. And if you bring back Paige as a baby face, or really by herself, if you bring her back alone, I think she's going to get the stupid chants from the stupid people about how there was a sex tape released with her in it. But if you put her with someone and make her a monster, but a big bad who beats the crap out of everybody, I think that'll detract from it, and it'll be focused on what she's doing now. If she's alone or if she's a babyface, I think you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot with her. Put her in a position to succeed, and I think her and Emma running roughshod over everybody is a position to succeed. So that's my fantasy with that. That should happen. It would be awesome. It would be interesting. So Asuka's gonna win, though. I mean, come on. Cruiserweight Championship match up next, Kalisto versus Enzo. Kalisto is the champion, but he's looking to become the new champion. Good promo, Kalisto. Good job. You're getting there. You know, does anyone care about the cruiserweights? They've done such a poor job promoting them that even though they're probably the best workers in the company across the board, all of them, who cares? You know, like, they don't have any character. Even Kalisto has got a cool-ass mask and a decent moveset, but does anyone care about him? You know what I mean? Like, he's great, but nah. I'll say Enzo wins it back through shenanigans. He's got a stable now of sorts, so through shenanigans, I think he'll take the title back, and I think they'll start a feud with him and Mustafa Ali, which is a good call. Those two, I think, would put on some decent matches. Mustafa Ali is clearly someone who can carry Enzo, and I don't think Kalisto is yet. I don't think Kalisto's at that level where he can just carry Enzo to a good match. Although their Raw match was good, that still had quite a bit of, no, me, oh, okay, you know, they had a lot of that. Yeah, I think Enzo will win, get the title back, and, you know, further bury the rest of the talent on that show. It'll be interesting being there, that's for sure. It'll be interesting being in the audience to watch this dumpster fire take place, but Demon Finn Balor versus Sister Abigail Bray Wyatt. It really depends on what they do with Sister Abigail. This is another spot where Paige could pop up and be Sister Abigail, and but you know, do you really want to give her a whole new character, even if you put her under like a hood? Or change her look somehow where she doesn't look like Paige and her face is covered, something like that. I think even that's a little much for someone who's got the star power that Paige does. It's a little much. It's possible if they want to make it a full different person. But honestly, if they make Sister Abigail just be Bray Wyatt, Finn's gotta win the match, doesn't he? Like, it can't possibly be the start of another push for Bray Wyatt to have him go and drag and just put a veil over his face. It's just such a weird thing. You know, hopefully they do something great with it. Hopefully he's got some input, because I'm sure he's had ideas forever on what the whole Sister Abigail thing would be. But if they're going to pull the trigger on it and it's just him and drag, it's just... Up next will be the semi-main, which hopefully is the Raw Women's title match. Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James. I don't think they're going to take it off Alexa yet. Not for Mickie. The build has been decent for what it's been. Basically just calling Mickie James old, although I'm literally older than her. I think by like 2 full years. Like, she's not old. She's still a smoke show, mind you. And she's a mom. I'm surprised they haven't brought up the mom thing. That's just cool, you know? And you'd think they would get her over more. It's like, I have a son. I've pushed a human being out of me. And now I'm going to put my foot in you. I don't know. They can go anywhere with it, you know? Yeah, I think Alexa retains the belt. I'm going to assume they're going to push Asuka straight to the moon. I think they'll have Alexa versus Asuka at Survivor Series. Don't know if she'd win it yet. I mean, they kind of did the same thing with Shinsuke, and Shinsuke lost twice to Jinder Mahal, so I'm not hopeful that Asuka's treated well at the main roster. On to the main event of the show, and it'll be fine. It's the Shield versus Miz, Sheamus and Cesaro, Braun Strowman, and now Kane. Because there's only one real good way to get elected mayor in this country. It's being cannon fodder for a returning stable. Now, it's not that the Shield was before my time or anything. Like, I'm a wrestling fan, obviously I'm a fan. I've been a fan for a long, long time, but I did fall out of it in the early 2000s and got back into it with CM Punk's pipe bomb. That's what brought me back in. I just noticed it on YouTube one day, listened to it, and I'm like, well, I better check back in with what's going on over there. But yeah, CM Punk brought me back into wrestling, and then, you know, now he's gone because of douchebaggery on, I'm guessing, both sides, but it sounds like more like the company side to me. And he's blocked me on Twitter. because I don't even know why. I don't think it's wrestling related. I'm not that guy at all to just tweet celebrities. I don't do that because why? But I think it was like the Blackhawks and the Wild, which is my hometown team and his hometown team, were playing in the playoffs, maybe, and I tweeted at him, or I responded to a tweet of his. Something simple like, "Go Wild, hope we beat your butt," and he blocked me. It's like, but I'm watching wrestling because of you now. It's your fault. You have to take responsibility for this. Now that you got all that unnecessary backstory as to why I'm watching wrestling again, the Shield is the biggest thing in the world apparently, and never clicked with me. I don't get it. I like the idea of bringing up 3 guys at once from developmental, quote unquote developmental, and having them together as like this force, but they never once had a story. Never once. They were just goons, you know. They would show up and beat people up. They were just goons. They weren't like they kept on calling themselves the Hounds of Justice, and they keep on talking the Shield of Justice, like we're gonna make sure everything's fair. And it's like, no, you didn't. What? You never once had a story. Even your babyface turn against Evolution didn't make sense. It didn't. Nothing made sense about you guys. Like, and I liked that they put him against Evolution for a couple months before splitting him up. You know, get him to be a babyface stable before, boom, split him up, make a top heel out of Seth, make a top babyface out of Dean, and have Roman Reigns fight Big Show for 6 months. Guess which one got to main event WrestleMania the last 3 years. So yeah, I've never understood it. It's fine. I don't understand why it's such a big deal that they get back together. You know, it was a boring stable. It's 3 guys in flak jackets. You know, like Seth has clearly moved on from the character and built his own brand. Dean has clearly moved on and built his own brand. Roman wears the same outfit and has the same music, but it's good to see them back together apparently. Having said all this, I have 0 fantasy booking. It's just going to be, you know, Shield's going to win. Obviously, Shield's going to win. I'm going to assume Roman gets the pin over Miz, because then they're going to go on to Survivor Series for the IC title. And everyone else will do their own thing. I don't really know. Seth and Dean will go back to feuding with The Bar, which again, Ford owes them money. But yeah, nothing crazy. You know, weapons everywhere, weapons everywhere. So yeah, as far as fantasy booking in this one, there's not much to fantasy book. I think, you know, Asuka's debut would be a perfect time to bring back Paige and have those two have some kind of feud, if not with both her, Paige, and Emma. I think that would be great. I think it'd be a great way to show how much of a monster Asuka can be as well. So it's a good way to get Paige back in. It's a good way to get Asuka going. And every other match, I think, is pretty cut and dry. I don't think there's too many surprises for this one, unfortunately. But I will be there. Me and my 6-year-old Thomas are going to go. He went to NXT last time they were here and had a lot of fun. He actually has a replica belt now that he wears all the time, and he calls himself Bobby Roode because Bobby Roode was the champion at the time. He's not a Drew McIntyre guy. But yeah, let me know what you think's going to happen, what you think should happen. Fantasy book the hell out of it. Let me know in the comments section. And of course, make sure you do watch the pay-per-view on the WWE Network. My name is J.K. Calloway. We'll talk to you next time.